you have to be able to bet on yourself. Like, in my mind, I can bet on Tiff because Tiff ain't gonna lose. Like, I'm not gonna, if I can't bet on nobody, I can bet on myself.
Attention, all my creatives. I don't care what kind of creative you are. I need you to listen to me very closely, all right? Or maybe you're just trying to connect with some creatives. I need you to remember this name, Maker's Gym. You guys, Maker's Gym is a new creative co-working concept, the dopest I have ever seen in my life. No exaggeration. Look, it gives its members access to state-of-the-art production studios, production equipment. You get training and educational classes. You get vast co-working amenities, and even better than that, a network of up-and-coming talent and businesses. So make sure you look them up, Maker's Gym. I won't create anywhere else. Check them out, y'all. Welcome to The Dash. You know, The Dash is that tiny line between your life start date and end date. It's your story, the chapters in your book, your journey. Get ready for real conversations with real people telling real stories about the realities of failure, setbacks, and success. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. We're rolling. Let's go. The Dash in 3, 2, 1.
All right, so I am very excited today because I am sitting down. I guess I would call you a serial entrepreneur. The girl is balling, okay? It just is what it is. She is a boss by all means. Tiffanie Mims is in the building. Thank you so much for joining us on Jade and Friends.
Serial killer.
Yes. I love it. Okay, look, I can't even name all your businesses. So if you can remember all of them, go down everything that you're involved in right now.
Okay, so I'm going to start from the longest business up to the newest.
Okay.
So I am co-owner of BeDonnas, BeDonnas.com. We're an online boutique with women's clothing, women's shoes, and myself and Alexis Weekly, who's my business partner of 21 years. We started this business in 2001, fresh out of college. Shout out to FAMU.
And we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that because, people don't even know. Like, this has been brewing for a long time.
21 years. So it's BeDonnas. That's one.
Yeah.
Then I also have a real estate company. And so I sell real estate, residential real estate, buyers, sellers, all of that. I also have 7 Airbnbs. So I'm an Airbnb host, connoisseur. And then my latest business is Bougie Hippie, which I'm saying it's the newest business, but it is definitely consuming a whole bunch of time. So Bougie Hippie is kind of like, we started out as one thing, like more so a mood company. So I would definitely say it's for women, self-care, looking good, feeling good. So it starts from the inside out. We sell detoxes. We have a new fat burner coming out, apple cider vinegar gummies. We sell stuff for your yoni care because you got to doctor that thing up too.
Make sure it's all right.
Yes,
sis.
all of that stuff is self-care. And so Bougie Hippie, and we also sell shapewear. So it's the vanity, but at the same time, it's from the inside out.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Okay, you making 7 figures, at least.
Multiple.
Listen, I just fell out my chair.
I don't get to pop it all the time, but let me pop it when I can.
But you have to. This is what people need to know. People need to know that it's possible, right? Because you come from the same walk of life from probably most of our listeners, viewers today. So let's do the rewind.
Okay.
You know, how did this all begin? So first of all, I got to ask you, were you born with the silver spoon in your mouth?
No.
Did you get a trust fund?
Not at all.
Okay, so tell me
Barely got to college.
Oh, okay.
I barely got to college, okay?
So how did you grow up?
So I would definitely say we grew up poor. I'm from the outskirts of Chicago suburbs, Waukegan, Illinois. Very, very, very check to check. Sometimes the lights was on, sometimes they was off.
Single mom, both parents
Single
in the house?
mom, myself and my brother, Anthony. My mom worked all her life, but like a kind of just not broke enough for food stamps and housing. Does that make sense? So it's like right above that where the government says, okay, you make too much money, but you really don't make no money.
So basically, you like borderline $30,000.
Oh, yeah. We was at Payless. Yeah, we was at Payless. Am I showing my age? I don't even know if they got Payless anymore.
It's okay.
We were at
good,
Payless.
sis.
Yeah, we were at Payless for sure. Lucky to get, when school came around, to get one pair of shoes, like one pair of like Nikes or something like that. So I might have had one Nike for the whole like year, and then everything else was like pay less.
Okay, so you grew up single mom. Y'all were,
struggling. Like I knew that growing up, I knew that I didn't have an example that I saw that this wasn't how it's supposed to be, but I knew I used my mom. This is going to sound so horrible, but she takes it well. Like I used my mom as an example of how I didn't want to be.
But you know what?
Like,
even though I know that sounds bad, but if we don't learn from the mistakes or missteps, let me say that.
It didn't feel normal to sometimes come home and the lights wasn't on. That didn't feel normal.
And so you knew at a young age, like when do you think that you were aware, like, I want different?
Oh God, like elementary school, like when kids tease you. So you really start getting that. So I always tell my son, 5th grade to about 8th grade is usually horrible. That is the meanest time period for kids. You get kind of cool when you get to high school for whatever reason, but that 4th through like 7th grade is brutal. Yeah, it's brutal. And so I just knew that it didn't seem right to be so check to check. Like it did not seem right to go to the gas station, and that was when gas was like 89 cents, and then we just had $2 to put in there, to get home, and we rode the bus, and so it didn't seem right that the only time like we were pretty good is like that first day when my mom got paid. And I knew my mom got paid every other Thursday because we got to get Taco Bell and just different little things like that.
Yeah, that seemed like a big deal back then.
Oh, a big deal. Like, girl, they had that 6-pack, and Taco Bell was my favorite. Before they changed the meat, they had the regular, you know what I'm saying? When I don't know if y'all remember, but the meat was different. And Taco Bell used to be that joint. So,
I am not playing with you today, Tiffanie.
Yeah, so that was like the highlight was the 6-pack tacos. It's Taco Bell.
Okay, so then at that age, what were you saying you wanted to be? When I grew up, I want to be a what?
You know what? Crazy part about it. So my grandmother lived a better life. So when we were in between like apartments, we would stay with my grandma for a couple of months. And you know how it is. So my 2 aunts, they went to college, and so my mom has a different dad than the other 2 girls. So I'm saying all that because looking back, I don't know, I guess it plays a factor. She was married to my aunt's dad. And they went to college, and when they got out of college, they used to have like the cute stuff, like the shoes. So I used to walk around drinking my milk, trying to fit in. Do y'all remember the candies? Oh, girl.
The candy shoes?
Yeah. Girl, yes. So the candies with my aunt used to have the candies with the wooden heel. And I used to walk around drinking my milk, trying to
girl, you know they came back.
I know. So I didn't know I wanted to. So I ended up selling shoes. That was our first lane. Before the clothes, it was all shoes, and I used to walk around in their shoes all the time. So I got all the pictures of me walking around in 2 big shoes at like 3 or 4.
Okay, so but you still at that time necessarily, because some kids grow up and say I want to be a doctor.
I just knew that I wanted to follow in the footsteps of my aunt, and she went to FAMU, and when she would come home during Christmas, she was an AKA. It used to be lit. Am I able to?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, shit used to be lit when she came home. Her friends would come, they would go out, and I just knew I wanted to go to FAMU. I think we went to one game or one homecoming. I was little. I probably was like 9, but I never forgot how lit it was in Florida.
And you were like, I'm going here.
I was like, oh, I'm coming to this school. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to FAM because I knew it was different.
So fast forward, you end up going to FAM.
Went in 97 and graduated in 2001. How I got there was I guess I was smart, like, because I had to, I was the kid that did just enough work to pass the test. Like I could laser focus on what I needed to do now, did I retain it all? I don't know, but I wasn't a nerd or anything, but I just knew that I had to pass the test. So I graduated with like a 3.8. So I got
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
so
really
I was
good, Tiff.
I'm telling you.
Tiff, you smart.
Right.
You is smart.
Not knowing it at the time. So I had a scholarship. I had a partial scholarship that paid for 75% of my schooling. And my aunt, who graduated from FAM, ended up moving to FAM. So around 11th grade year, I knew that the out-of-state fees were higher. So she allowed me to come my 12th grade year to graduate from a Florida high school so that it would be cheaper for me to go to FAMU.
Wow, you figured out a way.
Yeah, so she ended up working for FAMU. So 12th grade, I lived with her. She allowed me to do that, had the scholarship, took out loans. And again, my mom was just over broke. That's what I call a job, just over broke. So she was just over broke, and she did qualify for, I qualified for grants.
I don't know if they caught that. Did they catch that though?
A job is just over broke.
Okay, it's so many gems right now. Okay.
She was just over broke, which luckily I qualified for the grants. So I got the Pell Grant. Do they still have them grants?
I think so.
Okay, the government grants, I got those that you don't have to pay back. I had the loans. My aunt hooked me up with the work study. So I worked and I made the Rattler cards, like your ID card.
Okay.
So I had that. And I had the scholarship that paid for. So my school part was paid for 75%. So the rest of the money took care of me for like 3 or 4 months.
So what's crazy is, I don't even know if you recognize this. So you knew 75% was getting paid for, and something inside of you said, okay, I got to hustle up the rest. And I don't even know if you realize, like, you were hustling before you even knew hustling was going to bring you this multi-million-dollar business.
It was sink or swim. I knew if I needed it, who was I going to call to get it?
That's that part.
So if I needed to eat, or if I needed, I learned how to budget super good. I get my net check, it might be $4,000 or $5,000. I pay my rent up till January. I was budgeting my money because I couldn't call back home for money. So I never got help from home.
That's so good. Okay. So then fast forward.
And my grandma made me work. So in high school, I worked at Burger King, and she made me save half my check. So when I went to school,
shout out to grandma for teaching you how to
my
save
grandma
early.
is the shit. So when I went to school, I had like $2,000 or $3,000 just like for the stuff at the dorms and stuff like that. So I got real good at managing money because there was no way that who was I gonna call for it?
Okay. I love this because it's funny watching how all this is unfolding, and I don't even know if you really. Well, obviously you do, but
you don't think about it until you get asked the question. So it's all just really coming to me.
Yeah. Okay. So fast forward, you're in college. How does Be Donna's come about? Because, like, who in college opens their own shoe store?
So we're in Tallahassee, Florida. Tallahassee, Florida is one of, you think of Miami when you think of Florida. And we were 7 hours away from Miami. Not 7. I'm lying. It's like 6 hours away. So Tallahassee is a small town, but it's FAMU, it's FSU, Florida State, and it's Tallahassee Community College. So for community college, TCC was big. So it's like 3 universities there. And it was one of those places where there was like 2 malls, one nice mall, one not so nice. And that was just around the time where Baker's, we didn't have any shoe stores.
Baker's.
Baker's, so when you go to HBCU, you dress. So it was a fashion show. It was a straight up fashion show on Fridays on the set. You got dressed. We walked to...
Which you were still their way to this day.
Girl, we walked to school in heels. Like, we was walking to class in heels, baby, because it was that. And it was just lit. So we had homecoming, we had Kappa Luau, we had Dimp Week, we had all these things that we would have to go to Jacksonville, or my business partner, Alexis, is from Miami. So we would go to Miami, and when I would come back, I have 10 pair of shoes. So we were shopping at the flea market, we were shopping at the mall, and we didn't have any shoe stores in Tallahassee, not one shoe store.
Right.
So we was having such a good time at Tallahassee. Shout out to Tallahassee. Best time of my life. Partying, having a good time. Okay. We weren't technically ready to leave. So I had a boyfriend who had some money. We're going to say.
We're just going to keep it moving.
But it was like, you know what? We need a shoe store. No, I take that back. We was going to open up a tropical smoothie. Had got all the paperwork, all of this stuff, because everybody was into smoothies and wraps. But then once we got to the meeting, we found out we was just really buying a job. Like, a franchise is really just you buying a job. You have no say-so. You got to pay these people. It just wasn't, it didn't feel like your own business.
Nugget number 2. Okay, keep going.
Franchise is buying a job, baby. Okay. Yeah, so we was like, that's not it. Let's do a shoe store. We wanted to do a $10 shoe store like they had in Miami. But we found out the shoes wasn't $5. So that changed. So as we just learned as we went, and it was like, okay, we just graduated. We graduated in April 2001. The business opened in June 2001. So it was just like one of those things where, okay, if it does good, cool. If it doesn't, we'll just get a job. No big deal. Because I graduated with a criminal justice degree. I had already worked for the federal prison in Tallahassee as my internship co-op, and I was just going to do that, and I was going to move to Texas because I always thought that I loved it in Texas. My aunt lived out here. My husband was in Texas. Texas was lit. And we used to visit. Do y'all remember the Club Life?
Girl, don't even go there.
So
but
anyway, I got too much.
She ain't gonna age me.
Yeah. So it ended up. So what happened was we gonna get this 3 months. So we marketed by going on the set, passing out flyers, getting on the radio. We paid like for spots on the radio, opened the doors, and within the first month, we had our total investment back. And it was like, oh, so we just never looked.
So y'all broke even, because a lot of people say when you first start a business, if you break even within 2 years, then you're doing good.
We broke even the first month.
Okay, so
there was a need, and you know what I'm saying. We found that.
That's exactly where I was going with this. So I want everybody to like be getting these gems and not missing them.
Yeah.
So the way to know that you'll have a successful business, or to almost guarantee that you'll have a successful business, is to recognize, be the solution to a problem.
Exactly.
So the problem, you guys were having the problem. Mm-hmm. We needed shoes in college. We had to drive 6-7 hours, whatever it was, 5 hours to go get some popping shoes and be cute. Well, nobody wants to drive, so let us bring the shoes to the city.
Exactly. And nobody wants to look alike. So if we was going to get some shoes from there, everybody would have had them, you know?
Yes.
So that's why it took off, and we never looked back. There's a whole lot that happened within that time, but yeah, we never looked back.
And so just over the years, you guys grew that business. It was strictly...
It was in the mall. Yeah. So so back then there was no online shopping.
Yeah.
No online shopping. There was no Facebook. I think MySpace was going on at that time. And at that time, we were mall shoppers. So I didn't know. We knew we didn't want to be in a strip mall, because who goes to the strip mall to shop? Like that wasn't the thing to do. Like go to the strip malls. They didn't have that. So we got in the mall, and that was the focal point of Tallahassee, was the mall. Okay,
so let me ask you this, Tiffanie, because you guys are successful and you've continued to grow businesses. And one thing about Tiffanie is she's super fearless. She ain't afraid to make no money or lose no money, because she feels like she's gonna make it back. Now, that's one thing I got to give you, is that you just have that grit in you that a lot of people may not have, right? You're born with it. That's nothing that you necessarily learn.
Yeah.
You didn't have a choice, right?
I didn't have a choice.
But I do want to ask you, was there ever a point where you wanted to quit?
Yes. So fast forward to here. Dallas, us relocating our business from Florida to Dallas, maybe about 4 years ago, when Instagram was a sweet spot, and then Fashion Nova came in, and it became a business. So that was a disruptor. So you got to recognize in business the disruptors in business, like the Airbnbs, the Ubers, like taking out the cab company, Netflix, so it was a industry disruptor.
Fashion Nova was.
Yeah, because when we first got on Instagram, celebrities didn't know it was a paycheck. We didn't have to pay for that. We didn't have to pay for placement on these reality shows, none of that. So about 4 years ago, they just weren't engaged. That like, it didn't matter that we had the hottest stuff. I mean, everybody had a boutique there. It was just getting to that point where it's like, okay, we about 17, 18 years in, like it might be time. And we were broke. So that's another thing. Like it's peaks and valleys with this retail thing.
Oh, that's real. So you go 17 years super successful, then all of a sudden you hit rock bottom. Are you thinking like, what the heck?
Like, yeah, like I didn't know, but it got to that point. And then Alexis and Treese were like, every time you just be taking a picture or whatever, like just your regular pictures up in front of Nick and Sam's or something like that, they do really good. Like, but then these models, like, they're not doing good. So we started doing these videos. So the Be Donna's Closet. So we was immediately, like, we were broke. I remember being broke, not even being able to buy a whole lot of inventory. And whether you're making the money or not, you got to flip the inventory. You have to have new stuff for your customers. And I did the one video, because I'm super duper thick, and girls like me have problems. So it's more thick girls, I think, in the world than not thick girls. Like, that's what our customer base is.
I'm jealous, but go ahead.
Listen, I'm trying to be like you.
No,
they can have the thickness back. But yeah, I did a Be Donna's Closet video. And I was calling it Thick Thigh Approved. So it was these boots that could fit thick thighs, and I was way thicker then than what I was now, what I am now. And that one video went viral, and we immediately, probably, I think so, like 20 cases of boost. So I just remember bawling in the car. Like, it's just like God has the ability, I've recognized, to a lot of the different things in my life. He turns it around suddenly. Like, so right then it was just up. Like, this is it.
Wow.
They liked my crazy personality. I talked about my flaws, my cellulite, my fupa, all of this different stuff that, you know, and the girls, like, I thought that they wanted perfection and they liked my imperfection. So just
it's
being
so
me.
relatable.
Yeah.
And we had this conversation too. It's like you literally all of a sudden step out from behind the brand and you became the face of the brand now.
Because that's where it's going on Instagram.
Is.
So that's another disruptor. These girls was getting in front of their brands. It was not a behind the scene kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. No, like it definitely took off when you started posting those videos.
Mm-hmm.
So you decide not to quit. Everything is now back popping.
It's back popping. And it's still peaks and valleys. So I always say this. I get all the DMs and the emails like, oh, we want to start a boutique. We want to start a boutique. But if it was me and me starting a business today, it wouldn't be a boutique because it's saturated. It's like, for whatever reason, they think it's just pretty clothes and they don't see, like, I'm dressed up for you, but this ain't my normal get up. You know what I'm saying? So
don't get it twisted, Tiff. You be popping it, okay?
You know, I'm just saying my day to day.
She does like to dress. And see, I'm the tomboy of the group. And so it's like, y'all be like, so what you finna put on, girl?
Listen, you see me day to day. You know what I'm saying? Like when you just pop in the store and for whatever reason, the retail is what the first thing is that they want to do.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like you said, because you see it on the gram, everybody likes clothes and everybody feels like it's one of those things that you feel like you can do it. Oh, all I have to do is know how to pick clothes and I can do it. So
it's the easiest thing to think.
Yes. Like, so you said to think. So that means it's a misconception. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy because you're having to. So like the outfit I have on now. Okay, once this is done, I got to figure out what the next outfit is and what the next shoe is. It's always ever changing. It's nothing like marketing 1 or 2 or 3 products that don't change. So with Bougie Hippie, we're marketing the detox and we're marketing our apple cider vinegar gummies, and it's just one thing, and I don't have to get 3 colors of the detox and 3 colors of the gummies and you know 3 colors of the shapewear. It's just one product, you know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, you can scale. It's easier to scale a product-based business than it is a retail business, unless you are like a Fashion Nova where they have the money to
buy 100,000 of one thing
and dominate. They kind of they just dominate the airwaves, whatever you see, they're dominating it. Pretty Little Thing. And I'm not hating on it or anything like that, but it's different than turning this pair of jeans you got on. So once this is over, then then what you're gonna, you gotta.
So you're always on your toes with it.
It's always something different. And if this outfit doesn't sell, you can't just keep this outfit till it does sell, because then your customers really will get super bored. You got to still buy new stuff, even though this one didn't sell.
Okay, that's really good. Like those are the parts of the business that you never thought about. Okay, because you have so many businesses, you're gonna have to come back on another episode. Okay, because we got to talk about the Airbnbs and everything else that you do on the side. But there are people listening right now that are probably afraid to start a business. Or maybe they're fearless and they're like, oh, I can do that. If Tiffanie can do that, I can do that. Okay. So drop some nuggets on them. Leave them with something. If they're trying to step out on their own, what is something that they should be cautious of? Or
okay. So I'm going to say if you want to start a business, it's really consistency. If you are not going to be consistent, so whether the people took to the videos or not, that's something that I would have to keep going, because sometimes, it will catch on. So
I know you get tired of doing those videos.
Oh, girl. So what am I going to do when I'm 75? Who gonna be in front of there? So that's another thing. You think you want to be the face of the business, but what happens if something happens to you or you get sick? So it's a very fine line from being behind the scenes and being the face. So it has gotten to the point where they're not checking for my models, and they're beautiful girls. But if I'm not wearing it, it's tip. It's tip. Like that's all it is. So that has become a double-edged sword. Whereas with my other business, I'm not the face.
Right.
I mean, I do my content. Oh, and content. If you are going to do some type of retail business, you have like content wins all the time. So if you're going to get into business, the first thing you need to think of is, how am I going to market it?
Gotcha. Love it.
If you don't have the marketing, if you don't have that.
And marketing also not only takes creativity, there's money involved.
Yes, now it is.
Yeah. You normally have to, you can only do so much by yourself, then you possibly have to hire a team. So marketing is key.
Marketing is key. So you have to know whatever this. So whenever I buy a product, like I'm just going to move it to Bougie Hippie. So we have, I'm gonna have to give it, that's another gem. I'm gonna have to get that to them later. But you have to think about, and everything that we have doesn't do very well, because if you don't have the marketing of how you're going to sell it, it won't work. And it could be a bomb product, but if you don't have the marketing or how you're going to market it.
And I like that you said that, because a lot of people feel like they have influence, and they're like, oh, well, I get a lot of likes on Instagram, so that means I can start a business. That ain't the case.
You have to be a product of the product.
Say that again.
You have to be a product of the product. It has to be a lifestyle. Like, yeah, you have to be a product of the product. So I'm doing the detox and the gummies. I can't afford to gain 30 pounds. Like, I got to keep this shit off. Same thing with the clothes.
It has to be freaking stressful, because it's like people are looking at you. They're buying the detox, because I remember you dropped so much weight, and I saw everybody on Instagram like, wait, but these clothes you talk about, what is going on?
They was about to boycott B-Donnas. They was about to boycott it. So, and that goes into the B-Donna side. Just being able to fit the clothes and not have to buy. So when I was heavier, most of the things I bought always had stress, because it was a thing. We can't get this pair of pants or this shirt in, or really the pair of pants, if it doesn't have stretch. If Tiff can't fit it, we can't get it.
Oh, Lord, bars.
Come on, Tiff can't fit it, we can't fit it. Okay? So that is stressful.
Yes.
Picking the clothes with the stretch. So now I don't always have to pick the clothes with the stretch,
Yes. Good. Well, good for you. But then you like, well, dang, I want to eat this and I can't eat this, because then it's
listen. Came back from Miami and had to detox all over again. So I'm on water and soup for the rest of the week.
Oh, well, you look cute while you're on it. Well, no, you're going to have to come back to talk about the Airbnbs. You definitely dropped some gems. Give us one last thought. People that are trying to start a business, give us one last tip that you can leave us with. And one thing I also do want to make sure that people recognize is we have so many excuses for why we don't do what we want to do. There's fear involved. We could talk about, well, where you came from. You lived in the projects. Let's be very clear. You just made a way out of no way.
Right.
It wasn't set up for you.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't set up for me. Hopefully I could set it up for my son. That's the whole goal. My thing, I guess I'm gonna say two things. Number one, you got to be able to keep it real with yourself. If you can't keep it real with yourself, you can't keep it real with your customers. You can't do any of that stuff.
And what does that mean? Keep it real with yourself?
Like, know you. Like, for instance, like, I don't like to work out. It's been years. I'm not going to start a business based on working out because it's $1 billion business. Like, it's not going to be sustainable because it's not who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's good. And that's the fad right now. So you could have jumped on the fad and failed fast.
Yeah, fast. Not because I'm chasing the dollar. like, you can't be stepping over the coins. You know what I'm saying? I mean, stepping over the dollars to get to every coin. You know what I mean? So that's always been my thing. And then secondly, I would say you have to be able to bet on yourself. Like, in my mind, I can bet on Tiff because Tiff ain't gonna lose. Like, I'm not gonna, if I can't bet on nobody, I can bet on myself. So it's having something within you to just know that no matter what, I'm committed to this thing. Like, if you can do it broke, or not. Like, it needs to be some type of passion, right?
Right.
So that way you can set yourself up for success. And would you do it broke? And can you bet on yourself? Like, I'm going to bet on me before I bet on anybody else.
Trust. I already know. I love that. Tiff, you dropped so many gems today. I appreciate you. You are an inspiration. You look like $1 million.
Hey.
Look, you look like $1 million even when you fell on hard times because nobody knew.
Nobody. That's another thing, baby. You can't let them know.
Okay, so tell everybody real quick how they can get in touch with you or shop your stores.
Okay.
And then we'll make sure that we,
So my personal page, just the entrepreneur side, the businesswoman side, is Tiffanie in Companies. And that's TIFFANIE in Companies, COMPANIES. And then I'm at Vidana's for the boutique and at Shop Bougie Hippie for the other business.
Yeah, for the self-care.
So all the
side.
real estate and all of that stuff and everything falls under Tiffanie and Companies.
Yeah.
You go to that page, you can go to all the other pages.
All right, sis. I'm so proud of you. Keep up the great work. You're an inspiration. And I know that people were blessed today just because you came in and, hey, dropped them gems.
Yeah, I would love to come back.
You coming back? Because we got to talk about these 7, 8 Airbnbs you got. She didn't blind up the black eye dog. Okay? I love it, girl. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, love you.
So thank you, Jade, for having me.
Thanks for the support. Make sure you subscribe to the Dash Podcast YouTube channel. Also, we're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. And feel free to share with some family and friends. Thanks, guys.